I've spent my life building my nest egg, and what's the real strategy for managing risk to protect it while still drawing the income that I need? What do you have to fall back on if everything you did in the evaluation process is wrong? You got it all wrong, or it went wrong. Do you feel any less safe in that than you would in a GIC?
Diversification is also possible
it's
in
easy.
the private lending
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, put a little bit in one mortgage, put a little bit in another mortgage. I mean, you could build it so that it's liquid too. You can create liquidity, periodic liquidity. It would be so hard to lose. So hard to lose at 65% of the value. All right, welcome back to The Wealthy Lender. This is episode 24. I'm Chris Nichilo, licensed mortgage broker, financial literacy leader, and founder of Magnetic Capital Group. I think we're Canada's premier private mortgage firm. And today, we're going to be answering a question that Canadians may or may not ever thought about. And that is, I've spent my life building my nest egg. And what's the real strategy for managing risk to protect it while still drawing the income that I need? Nick.
Ooh, can I guess?
Yes, you can guess.
Your favorite thing in the world, collateral.
Yes, collateral. I mean, listen, the question was, I've spent my life building my nest egg. Like I've spent my life building my nest egg. What's the real strategy for managing risk? Well, you can evaluate risk for hours and hours and hours. I mean, I do it every day, evaluating risk from mortgage applications that we see, right? You can do it all day long till you're blue in the face. You can be the very best at it. And let me tell you what can happen is you lend your money to somebody or invest in something and everything changes. So if the decision you made to invest in anything was made on this group of facts, and then the second you formalize your investment or shortly thereafter, all those facts change. For example, in private lending, we get an applicant who's employed, married, 2 incomes, doing well, good credit. We lend them the money. Within a month, they lose their job, they get divorced, and next thing you know, credit's a mess, and all of that. So what do you have to fall back on if everything you did in the evaluation process is wrong? Like everything, you got it all wrong, or it went wrong, right? Like, so in those cases, what do you do? Well, the strategy is before you get there to secure your investments with some sort of collateral. Now, we've talked about collateral ad nauseum, but if we were to just distill it down to, okay, what makes great collateral? Well, it's two things. Number one, we can agree on its value. Okay, so you and I, why do we love residential properties in Ontario? Because you and I can walk to the same house, look at it, walk away, we can inspect it and then go and evaluate it independently, and we'll come back and likely be within a very narrow range of what it's worth. That's number one. And number two, it's easy to liquidate. You can sell it, right? So gold's a great example, right? Universally valued, easy to sell. Can sell it anywhere. In fact, you can sell it at a slight discount just to get your money out if necessary.
Yes.
Same thing with real estate. So, and retirees, right? What do they need? Well, they don't need more risk at that time of life, right? They need consistency and they need yield from safer places.
Yield being a key word here.
Yeah. So if you look at, so we're directed, this conversation directs you right to fixed income assets. So things like a GIC. And what's the security in a GIC? You're getting a guarantee from the government.
Yep. The G
Pretty
word.
good. Yeah, it's pretty good. And only them. They're the only ones.
No one else gets to use it.
When you can't use that word. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the GIC, you get a bond. Same thing. You're getting security from the government. You invest in a high interest savings account that the money is insured. Right. So all of those things. But what do those three things have in common? They're all great fixed income. You can count on them. But what's the problem?
Low yield.
Low yield. So then you look at a private first mortgage, and let's look at let's talk about, remember, be very focused, because I know what'll happen here. People will take this out of context. We're talking about a retiree, someone who has made their money. They have their nest egg. Maybe they've downsized. They have this nest egg and they just want to invest it and make a decent return. So call it $1 million, and they just want to make, they need $5,000 a month to live, $6,000 a month, something like that. Okay. They own their house. They own their car. Just remember who we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So that person comes along, or they go into their bank, and the bank says, hey, look, you've done so well. What you should do is, we should just invest this all in fixed income, and it should be, just GICs, bonds, and so on. Your average return on investment, let's call it at a high, is going to be, after fees and everything, 3.5%, 4%. Okay. So you go, okay, I got $1 million. I'm going to make $40,000 a year. Okay. And my old age pension and so on will kick in. And that's how I'll get to my, $60,000 a year, and I'll be okay.
Do you know if those funds have drawdowns? Like, is it?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. So, I mean, but I also don't want to go that deep.
Okay. So let's assume no.
I just want people to see on the surface, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's your plan, and it can work. Now, I come along and I say to you, look, I tell you what, I can get you 7%, okay, or call it 6.5% on your money, and all of your money will be invested in various mortgages secured against residential properties, where the mortgage is only 65% of the value of the house. So for every house that's valued $1 million, you're lending $650,000. And if the borrower doesn't do what they're supposed to do, you sell the house, you get your money back plus interest.
And the terms are 1 year.
And the term is 1 year at a time. And now you're going to make $65,000 on your money. Now, my question to you would be, do you feel any less safe in that than you would in a GIC? Now, granted, it's a guarantee. Am I able to give you a guarantee? No. But can you imagine a scenario where the house was worth $1 million and you're owed $650,000 and you can't sell it for enough to get out?
In a 1 year time frame, no.
Right. It could happen. Something crazy could happen, like very crazy could happen. But I don't think it would happen without you seeing some symptoms, if you're managing it right and being able to get ahead of it and so on. It would be so hard to lose. So hard to lose at 65% of the value. But you're getting almost double the return, right?
And if that's an issue, diversification is also possible.
Oh, it's
in
easy.
The private lending space.
Yeah, put a little bit in one mortgage, put a little bit in another mortgage. I mean, you could build it so that it's liquid too, where you're getting a mortgage is coming back to you every month.
Yeah, talk about liquidity.
2 months. Yeah, liquidity is so important. I mean, it's funny. It's important, but every time you have it, you want to get rid of it. It's like if you have $1 million in mortgages, 10 mortgages of $100,000 each, every time one comes back, so you could stagger it so that you put out $100,000 every month or two, and then a year later it starts coming back to you every month or two. So you have some flexibility to do something different if you want it. 100's coming back, I want to do something with it, whatever. But if not, you're just going to put it back in, right? So it comes back to you, you go, hi, money, and then you buy money and put it back in. So it continues making you a return. But the key here is for people to understand the impact. Again, you remember last time we talked about the impact of one down year investing, right? Losing 30% in 1 year, and how impactful that is on the numbers, even though it doesn't feel like it. Feels like 4 out of 5 years so good. Yep. Same here. It's like, what is the impact of that yield boost when the security is just as good? It's like, this is really secure and the guarantee is way up here. Like, you're not worried here. It's just you're getting extra from a guarantee, but the impact is made on the yield side. The security is good enough. Like, it's solid. to keep you very, very safe and not have you worrying about your money every day. Now, but what's the impact on the yield? So this is where it's so key, Nick, because even at a high, if I said to you, all that money in GICs, bonds, high interest savings, 4%. If I can give people 6.5, that is a very significant. I don't know the percentage. It's about 2/3. It's like
Yeah.
60%.
Yeah.
It's a 60% increase on your yield. When you get a 60% increase on your annual yield, that's very significant lifestyle wise.
That shows up in the quality of your retirement.
Oh, it shows up all over the place. So, and again, to add in the elements that you don't have, this isn't like all the money going into one basket. This is like a space in and of itself where, you know, if you came to me instead of coming to an investment advisor who has mutual funds to choose from, ETFs, all the different products and vehicles available to him on the security side of things, then you come to me and I just go, yeah, I have lots of options too. They're just all mortgages. They're all different mortgages, right? Like you can have some in this mortgage and some in this, and this one makes 8, and this one makes 7, and this one makes 6, and this one makes 9. And you could customize the whole thing. It doesn't have to be 6.5%. But if you're that person who says, I just want the most secure thing possible. First mortgage, 65% of the value, set it, forget it, never worry about it. And you could do that all day long. Granted, you have to do things right. Like there's still a way to do it, right? And so I don't want people to just run out there and be like, I'll lend anybody 65% of, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you still have to check the collateral, check the house, all that kind of stuff, do your due diligence. But the point being is you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You can put them in multiple mortgages. And once you get going at it, I mean, it's a thing of beauty. And it's so easy to manage because it's the same return
Yeah.
every month, right? You're not worrying about ups and downs. And then, that last piece, again, circling back to liquidity, um, the thing about private mortgages, similar to like a GIC, like there's no liquidity in it. Like if you give your money to somebody else for a year, you can't ask for it back 6 months later because something happened in your life and you need it.
Right. You're committed.
But in the mortgage space, the point we were trying to make earlier is you can stagger your mortgages so they're all a year long. If you start one in January, that money comes back to you next January. If you start one in February, that money comes back to you in February. And so you can create liquidity, periodic liquidity. Some people do it quarterly, some people do it biannually. Some people don't worry about it, just put it out when they have it. And when it comes back, it comes back. But because they have several mortgages going, the liquidity ends up being there built in.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
And
built
this
into the
is,
strategy.
yeah. And so sort of to wrap sort of all this in a bow, it's like you've spent your life building this nest egg. And now you need a strategy that does two things. I got to preserve it, right? Because I can't afford to lose it at this time in my life, right? So I got to find a way to preserve it. So I need enough security that I don't worry about it day to day. And the chances of me losing it are very, very slim. Can it be 0? Yes, but the yield won't be big enough. And that's the other piece. So you need necessarily, right? You need the best security, but you need better yield. And the perfect marriage is private mortgages done well against residential properties because at 65% of the value, you have ample security. You're never worried, but you're getting a 60% kick on yield for that type of security. And that's
You
how you
mentioned
do
this
it.
in the you mentioned this in the GIC comparison episode,
Mhm.
that risk and reward are positively correlated, and
Yes,
the win in life happens when you just get that spike in yield, but somehow the risk just barely stays with it,
that's correct. Yeah.
and that's when the win
I mean,
happens.
that's the idea, is to find the ideal combination of risk and return. And actually, it's very unique in the private mortgage world because that same mortgage that a borrower is going to pay you 6.5 or 7 on at 65% loan to value, they would only pay a bank 4.
Because the bank is so strict.
Yeah, right. They will pay you a premium, and when I say premium, what I mean is a rate of return that is not commensurate with the risk. It's not, because the bank, if that person qualified, that the bank would lend against that collateral at half the rate that you will.
Yep. Same property.
Same risk.
Mm-hmm.
So the bank, who spends millions of dollars evaluating risk every year, knows it's safe at 4 or 4.5. And yet that same borrower will come to you and voluntarily give you a premium, even though you're taking the same risk the bank is. I mean, it's actually amazing from that perspective when you think about it that way.
Yeah, sometimes I remember you telling me you were looking at a certain file. Well, oftentimes this happens, and you were like, "Man, how did this person not qualify? Like
You're stealing yield. You are stealing yield.
This is on
No
the
question.
fringe, like just barely the fringe."
That's right. And that's not to say that you get the license in private lending to go out and just charge people whatever you want, because you do have to compete with other lenders. And our job, for example, is to price it right. Right? So get the premium that's available without trying to take so much that you lose it to someone else who's going to be more reasonable than you.
Yep. Market.
And that's obviously a conversation for another day. But yeah, so that's that. I hope everybody got that message. You know, the central message there of just two things you really need to balance really well in those retirement years is you've got to have security as priority number one. No question. You achieve that through collateral, but you still need yield, and you can get an ideal marriage of the two in the private mortgage space. So.
And diversification and liquidity are also at your disposal.
Yeah, really great. All right. Till next time. Happy lending.